Hey everyone, this video is going to be about Gracie and then Saddle on top of it because I think Saddle is one of the best reasons to take Gracie. It came up, somebody was talking about Wong and Glowy, and I mentioned I take Glowy Bird or McTavish. They say, surprised no one takes Glowy Gracie, and it got me thinking about it. I think Gracie's one of those models I used to love, I used to play a lot, and she kind of fell out of favor. But I think she fell out of favor around the time that I wasn't like that good, where I'm not playing awful, but I was playing less. I wasn't playing that well. That's back when I played Ulix a lot. Um, yeah, basically I played Ulix a lot back then, and I used Gracie all the time. And then I kind of stopped playing Ulix and I started playing Wong, and then I used her a little bit, but I wasn't really good with Wong, and then I stopped taking her and I started taking other things, and I played Sommer, and I don't really love her with Sommer, personally, but I think she might be one of those models where, hey, she has some uses, she has some good things about her, and maybe I should go back and look at her and see because, you know, unlike Fingers, who I just never used, said was awful, now I use them. I've always seen some potential in her. Um, I actually used her for a very brief amount with Zip, but I don't know why I stopped. I think some of it was just I was using her when I played Vassal online, and she worked fine. I actually liked her in the crew, but I just never went anywhere with it past that. I kind of been on a Sommer kick lately, so I've been playing a ton of Sommer, which means that I really don't have the room for in that list, so that's probably why. But anyway, so why do I like Gracie? I think the biggest thing for me is Saddle. Some people say they don't take Saddle. It's shocking to me because I think it's like an amazing upgrade for the stones. I mean, think about it. How much we pay, how many stones we pay for models to get pushes and stuff in places. And here's a 1 stone upgrade for a model that's probably already going to walk turn 1 that places a model next to it that's within 2 inches of it, right? And it can do it to every gremlin, not just height 1, which is big because all the masters, right? Or Swine Cursed, or things like, or anyone on stilts, things like that. So, one thing about Saddle is, and we're going to talk about Saddle for a little, is why it's great. Getting people out of combat. If Gracie takes a walk while in combat, then she can saddle the person to the other side of her and get them out engaged. That's good for like Wong. Also good for people, let's say somebody's at 2-inch melee and they're engaging Gracie at over 2 inches, and also maybe Bert. She can walk in, saddle Bert next to her, and now they're both in melee range. Yeah, you lose an attack on her, but her attacks, we'll go over her card. I'm going to put up a diagram, as you can see. This is kind of the saddle chart. And what I mean is, I think a lot of, and I don't know how many people do this. Honestly, I don't watch people saddle. I don't see it a lot. So maybe you all are doing this already, and you're better than I am right away. But one thing I think people do wrong is they saddle one model, right? And they just saddle it twice forward like a Wong, right? And that's great. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I think you can optimally get more out of saddle. If you look at the diagram, we have Wong and Bert Jepson. Wong is the primary target. Wong is the one we want to get up to the top. Well, we could just saddle Wong, walk Gracie twice, and boom, we get it. But my question is, why not saddle Bert first up until the first walk? Gracie only walks 4. Her base is 2 inches wide, so you're basically giving up maybe a 1/4 inch of move, maybe probably less, because you're going to go on a diagonal like I see here, to pick up Wong on the second walk. So Bert gets to move about 4 inches. Wong gets to move 9 inches or so forward, and Gracie does the same thing. So basically, you get about 12 inches of movement out of Gracie's saddle in the first turn, as opposed to just 8. So maybe you guys already did this, but it's something cool if you set it up right on the walk. It's pretty easy to do. And those 4 inches could be big. That's a free walk. I mean, on a reckless model, on something like that, that's huge. So you guys start using that. If you start using Gracie, definitely take advantage of almost like a double place because of the way her base is. And she does have reactivate, so You can get pretty far with models if you set it up right. So let's go over Gracie's card, because Gracie's one of those cards where, I don't know. She's 10 stones. She's a lot of stones for Gremlins. And I think I got to wrap my head around the fact, and she's 11 with upgrade, that she gets reactivate. So she's a potential 2 activations every turn. So you're kind of paying the price to get those double activations. Right? And you get the saddles and stuff. And she's still a tank. So, just look at her card. 5 defense, not the highest. 6 willpower, good. 8 wounds is not a lot. 4 walk, 6 charge, height 2. Nothing crazy. So she's armor 2, hard to kill. I think this is one of those. She's very polarizing in the sense that if you can predict that your opponent's not going to take a ton of anti-armor, she could almost be impossible to kill. Like 10 Thunderers, I think people told me they have a lack of armor killing, and it's a trouble for them. So an armor 2 hard to kill model that heals itself might be a potential nightmare for them. Right? But something like Levy will just smoke her in 2 shots, and then you're like, oh, fuck me. I've lost my 11 stone model in 2 shots. Other gremlins might be an issue if they take like Wong, because Bert will just 2-shot her. Stuff like that. So there's potential there. I don't think she's the best in everything, but I actually haven't seen, besides like gremlins running lightning bugs and glowies, I haven't seen a ton of like anti-armor recently. I'm trying to think what comes out to my mind of like really anti-armor type things. Obviously Doppelganger with the upgrade, they can always 1,000 mass to it, but you need something to hit her with too. So I don't think she's very good versus Neverborn, in general, because of her low melee range, and then Black Blood just like eats at her. But I feel like in my head, like 10 Thunderers, she has some play. Outcast, Levy is always the risk, but he's been toned down now that he can't double focus, so it actually is a little harder to get she'll still die in 3 shots. 1 severe and 2 mins killer, so that's probably not the best. Anyway, I do think she's useful in other things. Even non-Wong gremlins will have trouble killing her, I think. Because she also has Eat Your Fill, so, the issue becomes with gremlins, if you can't kill her in like 1 round, what if she just kills it by you and scores you, heals up back to full. She's unimpeded, which is actually nice, so if you have if there's a lot of dense terrain, she can easily walk in place, like Wong through it. On the back, she doesn't have too much to talk about. 2 attacks, 1 melee 6, height, range 1, 2, 4, 6, with a trigger on rams for +2 damage, so she becomes 4, 6, 8, which was great back in the day when you had like Ulix. So you would run Ulix and Gracie and Lenny, and so Ulix would just ride behind Gracie with the push. You'd saddle Lenny with you, and then it's like 20-some stones and your master. But, Gracie walks up, double walks up if needed, and now Ulix goes prod, plus flips min 6, 4 because of Lenny. Lenny still hasn't moved because he's been saddled all the way. He hits you on the head with his thing twice, so now you have 5 attacks, min 4, 4, 4, 3, 3. More if she didn't need to walk 4 times to get up there. It can be pretty deadly. Unfortunately, she has a trigger where if she gets a crow, she will lay down and stop activating. Possibly an issue. I mean, it's one of those, she's probably walking a lot for saddle, and when she's attacking, you just got to pick the right attack given the situation. If you have a high ram in hand, it's pretty good because you just do the min 4. Her other melee 5 has a trigger to heal 1, 2, 3, and she does only 1, 2, 3, so little damage, which she's tanky. I mean, that's the thing about her. She can hit hard if you have the rams, but on the other side, she's tanky enough with several ways to heal that she's always like coming back, and you kind of have to deal with her. You can't just leave her there forever. On a 7, she can take 2 damage and reactivate. So, even if you reactivate and just attack twice and do the healing one, it's still an activation. There's still potential to walk. Blah, 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 blah. So, she's useful in that sense. I don't know if I'd give her glowy. because so ending activation's always scary. She's not the fastest model because she can't like reckless charge. Obviously, she can reactivate charge. You do risk if you don't have the cards in hand, her putting to sleep. And now, I mean, you might not risk is a weird word. I mean, she only's going to do 3 min with Glowy. I mean, Bert does 4, right? I don't know if Glowy puts too much of a target on her because I think she is killable. But there's a point where if you have 2 Swine Curse, Bert, and Frank, she can't be like the main thing you kill. Like if you take the amount of AP it takes to kill her needs to be worth it, right? So if she's like the Glowy target, she might be just like, I'm gonna fuck you up. And you're like, oh shit, she can't, she has to die now. But if she's like the supporter piece where she's like annoys people, tanks them, moves people around, saddling, that might be a better situation for her. So where do I see her being used? I mentioned a Wong list, and she might fit into it, where you take something like Wong, 2 Swine Curse, Bert, Frank, 3 Stuffed Piglets, and Gracie with Saddle. And then you have 1 stone left, just put in the cash probably. Or give Dirty Cheer to Wong is probably a better idea at that point. And so what this can do is, obviously you have 3 Glowy targets and a Frank who does massive damage. And you have a Master who's really good at blasting if people set up incorrectly. And then you have this model, Gracie, who can saddle every single one of those models up. Because despite the height 2 of Frank, Wong, I mean, if you had an Iron Skeeter, you could only lift Frank. I mean, a Bert, because Frank's on stilts. So your options are a lot more limited in that sense. But now you have this reactivatable model who moves multiple models forward. And since Swine Curse started as Gremlins, you could, because Swine Curse, Wong is great to move up if you're gonna get the good shot. But to move a Swine Curse up like 12 to 16 inches and then have it reckless charge for free, and if you have a high ram, you can change into a pig right after you saddle it, and then make it go crazy in the middle of somebody's lines. That's a big deal. Also, saddling Bert is a big deal. Not only is Bert glowy, so Bert can do all the damage, but Gracie also gives you a nice target that is around you to like pawn attacks off to. Obviously, Stuffed Piglets are also good for this, but kind of Gracie is that a lot of things things that will kill Stuffed Piglets. Some people will be like, all right, I'll take that trade. While if you're doing it to Gracie, they're like armor 2, it heals. There could be a lot of things like that. One thing I have done with Gracie is attack. One thing you can do is if you're really worried about like reactivating and taking damage, if you have like a free AP, even though it sounds dumb, you can just bite a Stuffed Piglet, relent, do the 1 wound to it because it's probably not going to matter, and then get a 1, 2, 3 flip, hopefully flip a 2 or 3, heal, and heal back your reactivate. So that's something you could do first turn where, let's say, you double walk reactivate, put a Stuffed Piglet right behind her, when she activates again, bite the Stuffed Piglet once to try to get your wounds back, and then walk up one more time to saddle Bert a little bit extra inches. So, yeah, that's an option. I know this video is not too long. I think it's just for me to like kind of talk out the saddling situation. I think she's going to be worth trying. Maybe I'll have to pull her out soon, and maybe at the tournament I'm going to, because I know she's not a bad piece, right? Because that slot was being filled with like maybe a Trixie or Taxidermist or 2 Lightning Bugs, and she gets 2 activations and she really puts a lot of pressure on the opponent turn 1 because of the threat of just being like, all right, I'm going to move any one of my models 12 inches forward and go after you. And if you do it, you could also do something like, if you look back at my picture I made, you could saddle up Bert and then move Wong And then Bert's going to be just out of 2 inches, but if you have a Swan Curse, you could actually push it into Gracie, right? Push it into 2-inch range. And then he could be, for the reactivate, Bert could be the second saddle day. So Bert still hasn't gone. Wong has moved 8 inches up the board. And now Bert is ready to be saddled the second time and still hasn't moved, giving you that Alpha Strike Bert. Just got to be smart with it. But I actually got to find my Gracie model. I might have put her away in storage. I gotta bring her back out. But that's it. Just wanted to do a quick video on Gracie. I think you gotta take saddle. I don't think she's the best glowy target, because then you really gotta focus more on attacking to get worth out of her, when I think she could be more used to you early on, walking a lot more, getting you out of situations, and just being obnoxious. Obviously, it could be all a waste of 11 stones, but if people take Iron Skeeters, I can't see why they wouldn't want Gracie, who does a little bit more, in my opinion, overall. But yeah, those are some of my little strategies with her. I hope to use her and see how it goes.